Today we're going to be talking about Newton's laws of motion. Newton's laws came from Sir Isaac Newton. He was an English physicist and mathematician from the 17th century. Newton came up with 3 basic laws that we are going to be focusing on today. Law number 1 can also be called the law of inertia. It states that an object will remain at rest or in a uniform motion unless acted upon by another external force. So what exactly does this mean? It means that in this example, the shopping cart is at rest, but if I were to add a force and push the shopping cart, then it would begin to roll down the hill. Here's another example. Watch how the remote stays at rest until I apply a force, then it begins to move. Another example would be dominoes. Dominoes remain standing until you use a force, then they knock each other down. Now let's look at Newton's second law. In Newton's second law, he states that force equals mass times acceleration, so we need to focus on this equation. As you can see from this example, the same force exerted on a larger mass will produce a correspondingly smaller acceleration. Here's another example. On the top wagon, it has less mass, therefore it has a greater acceleration than the one on the bottom with more mass, even though these have the same amount of force. Now let's take a look at the last law, law number 3. The third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So what the heck does that mean? It means that in this example, if you were to jump off the boat, the reaction would be the boat moves. Here's another example. If you were to use your finger to press against a wall, the force of the finger on the wall is the same as the force of the wall on the finger. Let's look at one last example of Newton's third law. When we bounce a ball down, what happens? It bounces back up, so the action of bouncing down creates a reaction of the ball bouncing up. So that concludes our lesson today over Newton's 3 laws, the laws of motion. I will leave you with a quote from Isaac Newton: "No great discovery was ever made without a bold guess."